In this video lecture, we are going to cover the normal microbial flora of human body with respect to different body parts. Let's start with the introduction. The term normal flora denotes the population of microorganisms that inhabit the skin and mucous membrane of normal healthy individuals. So normal flora means what? It is the population of microorganisms which is staying or which is inhabiting the skin and mucous membrane of normal healthy individuals. It is divided into first one, that is resident flora. Resident flora means what? It is a constituent of a constant population. It cannot be removed completely. Now the word itself, that resident itself indicates that resident means what? It is a staying together with the human body for longer time. That's what it is known as a constant population, and it is staying with the human body for longer time. That's what we can't remove it completely. Second type is transient flora. Now it consists of a non-pathogenic or potentially pathogenic microbes. It is derived from the environment and it can inhabit the skin or mucous membrane for hours, days or weeks. So transient flora means what? It is a flora which is one type of like a non-pathogenic bacterium, and it is potentially pathogenic microbes. Sometimes the environmental conditions of human body get wrong or get disturbed. That time the non-pathogenic flora becomes pathogenic, and it is derived from the environment, and they may stay in our body for hours or days or weeks. One. Now let's see what are the disadvantages of the normal flora of human body. First, they became pathogenic when the immunity is lowered, acts as pathogens in tissues outside their habitat. Example, normal flora of intestine may cause UTI, that is urinary tract infection, cause confusion in diagnosis due to their ubiquitous presence and their resemblance to the some pathogens. Let's see what are the advantages. They prevent or suppress the entry of pathogens, produce vitamin K and vitamin D, which is helpful for the immunity suppression or immunity increase, raise the overall immunity status of the host against the pathogens having related or shared antigens. The antibiotic substance produced by some, for example colicins, have a harmful effect on pathogens. Endotoxins liberated by normal flora may help the defense mechanism of the body. So these are the some advantages and disadvantages of the normal microbial flora of human body. Next point, that is the skin. Now we are going to see what is the normal flora of skin. Now skin regions have been compared to geography regions of the earth. That is the desert of forum, the cool of woods of the scalp, and the tropical forest of the armpit. The composition of the dermal microflora varies from the site to site according to the character of the microenvironment. That we know, like each and every body part has own skin, and that flora is differ from body to body or part to part. A different bacterial flora characterizes each of three regions of the skin. The first one, axilla, perineum, and toe webs. Second one, hand, face, and trunk. And third one, upper arms and legs. These are the three regions where the bacterial flora is occurred in different manners. Skin sites with a partial occlusion, that is axilla, perineum, and toe webs, harbor more microorganisms than do less occluded areas like legs, arms, and trunk. These quantitative differences may relate to increased amount of moisture, higher body temperature, and greater concentrations of the skin surface lipids. The axilla, perineum, and toe webs are more frequently colonized by gram-negative bacilli than are drier areas of the skin. Now we have to remember here that these axilla, perineum, and toe webs are mostly colonized by the gram-negative bacilli. The scrub method is used to collect samples from the skin, which yields the highest and most accurate counts for a given skin area. Now to isolate or to collect samples from the axilla, perineum, and toe webs, which method is mostly used? So simple answer is there. Scrub method is used. Most microorganisms live in the superficial layers of the stratum corneum and in the upper parts of the hair follicles. Some bacteria, however, reside in the deeper areas of hair follicles and are beyond the reach of ordinary disinfection procedures. These bacteria are a reservoir for colonization after surface of bacteria are removed. Now see, skin is the most important source for the isolation of microorganisms because mostly microorganisms harbor at different regions. Now we know that skin is present all over the body and on at different body parts. So the microbial flora of the skin is a differ from body to body, the body part to body part, that is site to site. The varied environment of the skin results in locally dense or sparse populations with gram-positive organisms. For example, Staphylococcus epidermis, Staphylococcus hominis, Staphylococcus hemolyticus, Staphylococcus capitis, Streptococcus pyogenes, Micrococcus luteus, Corynebacterium xerosis, and Peptostreptococcus species. Now we can see this is the figure of skin and where the microorganisms are harboring with the skin. So this is all about the skin microbial flora. Next one, conjunctival flora. Now here, the conjunctival flora is a sparse one. Approximately 17 to 49% of culture samples are negative. Lysozymes secreted in tears may play a role in controlling the bacteria by interfering with their cell wall formation. When positive samples show bacteria like Corynebacteria, Neisseria, and Maroxylus are cultured. Staphylococci and Streptococci are also present, and recent reports indicate that Haemophilus parainfluenzae is present in 25% of the conjunctival samples. Now see here, conjunctival flora is one type of sparse one. Around 17 to 49% of culture samples are negative. Those are isolated, those are collected or isolated from the conjunctival flora. Mostly lysozyme enzyme is secreted here in tears, and that enzyme plays most important role in the controlling of bacteria. When positive sample shows the Corynebacter, Neisseria and Moraxilla are mostly cultured from this conjunctiva. This one. Now see, this is the microorganisms are their frequency and their percentage present in the conjunctival larva. First one, coagulase, negative Staphylococcus 44, frequency and percentage 81.5. Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus viridans, Staphylococcus aureus, Corynebacterium species, Proteus species, and Enterococci species. Next, oral and respiratory tract flora. Now here, the oral flora is involved in dental caries and periodontal diseases, which affect about 80% of the population in the Western world. Anaerobes in the oral flora are responsible for many of the brain, face, lung infections that are frequently manifested by abscess formation. The pharynx and trachea contain primarily those bacterial genera found in the normal oral cavity. For example, the alpha and beta hemolytic streptococci. However, the anaerobe staphylococci, Neisseria, diphtherids, and other also present. Potentially pathogenic organisms such as Haemophilus, Mycoplasmas, and Pneumococci may also be found in the pharynx. The upper respiratory tract is often the site for the initial colonization by pathogens. For example, Neisseria meningitis, diphtheria, Bordetella pertussis, and many others, and could be considered the first region for the attack of microorganisms. In contrast, the lower respiratory tract, that is small bronchi and alveola, is usually sterile because particles the size of bacteria do not readily reach it. If bacteria do reach these regions, they encounter host defense mechanisms such as alveolar macrophages. They are not present in the pharynx. Now here, the microbial flora of oral and upper respiratory tract flora is so much different as compared to others, because here the anaerobes microorganisms are also present because they are responsible for many brain, face, and lungs infections, and that are frequently manifested by the abscess formation. The pharynx and trachea mostly contains the bacterial genera which is found in the oral cavity. For example, alpha and beta hemolytic streptococci. Apart from that, there are different potent pathogenic microorganisms also present, such as Haemophilus, Mycoplasmas, and Pneumococci. Okay, and the upper respiratory tract that we know, it is totally colonized with the different pathogens such as Neisseria meningitis, diphtheria is there, Bordetella pertussis is there, and many other microorganisms are staying there. While in the lower respiratory tract, that is small bronchi and alveoli, usually it is sterile. There is no any microorganism, or there are no any pathogens are present. Why? Because if any pathogen is coming over there, so that time what happens, they encounter host defense mechanism. That lower respiratory tract, what they do, they encounter host defense mechanism such as alveoli, macrophages, and they are not present in the pharynx. So that's what, in the lower respiratory tract there is no any microorganism. Next one, nail flora. The microbiology of normal nail is generally similar to that of the skin. Dust particles and other extraneous materials may get trapped under the nail depending on what the nail contacts. In addition to resident skin flora, these dust particles may carry fungi and bacilli. Aspergillus penicillium, Cladosporium, and mucor are the major types of fungi found under the nails. Now see, the normal flora of nail is somewhat similar to the skin. The many microorganisms trapped under the nail, because they got place to stay there, they got nutritions to stay there. Mostly fungi and bacilli are present under the nail, including Aspergillus, Penicillium, Cladosporium, and the mucor one. Next one, gastrointestinal tract flora. The stomach is relatively hostile environment for bacteria. It contains bacteria swallowed with the food and those dislodged from the mouth. Acidity lowers the bacterial count, which is the highest, approximately 103 to 106 organisms per gram of contents after meals, and lowest after digestion. Some Helicobacter species can colonize the stomach and are associated with the type B gastritis and peptic ulcer disease. A spirets of duodenal or jejunal fluid contain approximately 10 raised to 3 organisms per ml in most individuals. Most of the bacteria cultured, such as Streptococci, Lactobacillus, Bacteroides, are thought to be transients. Level of 10 raised to 5 to the level of 10 raised to 7 bacteria per ml in such aspirates usually indicate an abnormality in the digestive system. For example, achlorhydria and or malabsorption syndrome. Rapid peristalsis and the presence of bile may explain in part of the paucity of organisms in the upper gastrointestinal tract. Further, along the jejunum and into the ileum, bacterial population begin to increase, and at the ileocecal junction, they reach levels of 10 to 6 to 10 to 8 organisms per ml, with Streptococci, Lactobacillus, Bacteroides, and Bifidobacterium predominating. This flora includes the bewildered array of bacteria, nonetheless 95 to 99% belong to anaerobic genera such as Bacteroides, Bifidobacterium, Eubacterium, Streptococcus, and Clostridium. Now see, the microbial flora of the gastrointestinal tract is so much vary as compared to other body parts, because we know that stomach is uh, mostly known for the different types of acids, and if acid is present there, then that type of microorganism should be present there. Okay, whenever we are taking food from through the mouth, then food is going towards the stomach. Then while going the food from the mouth to the towards the stomach, then different type of microbial flora go through that food into the stomach, and that count may vary from the 10 raised to 3 to 10 raised to 7. Next were urogenital flora. The type of bacterial flora found in the vaginal depends on the age, pH, and the normal levels of the host. Lactobacillus species predominate in female infants, that is vaginal pH approximately 5, during the first month of life. Glycogen secretion seems to cause from about first month of age to puberty. During this time, diphtheroids and epidermis, Streptococci, and E. coli predominate at a higher pH, approximately 7. A puberty, glycogen secretions resumes, the pH drops, and women acquire an adult flora in which L. acidophilus, Cyanocyanobacteria, Peptostreptococci, Staphylococci, Streptococci, and Bacteroides predominate. Yeast, that is Trophilus and Candid, are occasionally found in the vagina. 10 to 30% of the women. This sometimes increase cause vaginitis. In the anterior urethra of humans, that is Streptococcus epidermidis, Enterococci, and diphtheroids are found frequently. Escherichia coli, Proteus, and Neisseria are reported occasionally, that is 10 to 13%. Because of the normal flora residing in the urethra, care must be taken in clinically interpreting urine cultures. Urine samples may contain these organisms at a level of 10⁴ per ml if midstream, that is clean catch specimen, is not obtained. Thank you.